hotlines. Thanks for holding on the line. Commando Day, game time. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, JB and KB?
How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing good. Monday before Election Day, of course, and Big P still crashing the board, so I'm always good with that.
Always, always. How was your weekend?
Man, weekend was good. Right quick, let me give a quick shout out to Big Coach. I was at the 78 Rose Bowl. It was at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, not Husky Stadium, and Warren Moon wasn't getting booed.
No, he said that during the season he was getting booed at Husky Stadium.
Sorry about that, Big Coach. I stand corrected.
We're here for all the game time.
Right quick, man, before I get into the Week 9 prognostication, you know, it's always been my tradition, I guess, to try to come on right that Monday and get into the football, you know, picks with you guys. Interesting, you know, weekend on that Apex that you talked about, JB. But first, I like to go in order. Let me hit Friday night. Friday Night Lights, in my estimation, are for high school. But if I got to watch the Huskies on Friday night, I want to see them beating Cal on the road, and that's for dang sure. And that was a nice win for the Huskies. Again, on national TV, they, you know, even though they made that switch to the Pac-12 network, made the switch, I should say, for all the teams. The Huskies getting a lot of exposure on ESPN, which you know, I'm really enjoying.
I believe that's the third nationally televised game that they've gotten on ESPN.
Right, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Again, you know, we keep joking now. I keep joking anyway about being a jack-o'-lantern, really kind of fan with the Huskies these days. You know, the Huskies are back, and then they get, you know, blasted, and then you don't know what's up with the team, and then they bounce back, and so just a good win to see those guys bounce back again, man.
It is, you know, and you know, to get those two victories like they did, and within a week's time, to have you right there on the brink of getting bowl eligible, and that's what you asked for, and you got 3 more games there, and I hate to say, you know, you know, getting to that 6 win mark is, of course, the cross line, because as Husky fans, we never used to just stop there, and to be honest with you, it was just automatic, you know, to get to a bowl. You just wondered what bowl you would get to. That was just, of course, of the state of the program and where you win. I just hope that they don't fall into this mentality, like I figured they did in the last couple of years, of just getting bowl eligible and then, of course, lying low, if you will, or laying low until it's time to ramp it back up for whatever bowl, of course, that they qualified for or got invited to. Go ahead and take care of business within the Pac-12 and build not only towards the bowl, but for next season.
Right.
Next season is supposed to be the season to really to break everything. These are 3 winnable games coming up here, and you got to take advantage of it.
Well, one of the things that I noticed with this Husky schedule so far is that at this point in the season, they pretty much have the record that I had predicted that they would have. You trade that Arizona game for the Stanford game, in which I thought that all of those games were winnable, but I wasn't expecting the Huskies to win. They have the exact same record that I figured that they would have at this point in the season, and moving forward into what I would say the easy portion of their schedule is, because we know that they would stack at the beginning, could finish off very, very strong, and then, you know, with a bowl victory, maybe a 9-win team here at the end of the season.
No, I'm right with you. The defense is I can't say enough about the defense coordinator. I know in the past I've made a lot of comments about, you know, the players have to play the coach's coach, and once you're out there on the field, then, you know, away you go. But I'm delighted, put it that way, that the difference from last year to this year, as far as the defensive coordinator has his defense looking, and like you said, KB, that's what's going to get it to that 9-win season. And JB, I couldn't agree more about what you said. The one about that winning 6 mentality, probably the best thing to kind of squelch that for the Huskies to get Tony Rome on the coaching staff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, one of the things I'm liking, though, about this defense, I'm loving the play of the defensive backs. And I thought
Right.
the defensive backs were the strength of this team, even going back to last year. And, yeah, you had Cord Dennison there in the middle, you know, the veteran linebacker. But, you know, I still thought that with guys like Desmond Trufant and Sean Parker and some of those guys, that your strength really lied in your defensive backfield. And one of the things they used to frustrate me to no end last year. We're seeing corners playing 10 yards off of the line of scrimmage.
Right.
And you don't see that this year with this Husky team. And actually, I don't ever, and I'm not trying to throw Coach Holt under the bus or anything like that, but I was never coached to play that far off the line of scrimmage, no matter how fast the receiver may be or what the threat of the deep ball might be.
Honestly, it's cowardice.
And you're not coming up to make many tackles in the run game either for being that far back.
Right.
Challenging the offense.
And now you see safeties and corners are coming up and making plays and helping out in the run game, and you didn't see that from the Husky teams of the past 2 years.
Yeah,
And that's what you got to have.
Secondary, yeah.
Yeah, you got to have that, man. Let's move on to the Week 9 prognostication. Of course, reason I'm calling. I've been the Week 9 prognosticator. It seems like now for the past few seasons. And this was the first one that was right before the election, so of course I was trying to get a good vibe going and put an election spin on my picks. But for me, it's not just picking winners. It's picking winners that you guys don't pick. That's why I said I'm picking for the game timers. Game timers trying to move up in the standings, and if we all pick the same teams, then the game timers can't move past you guys. And so that's what I was trying to do, man. Move past you guys. And doggone it, when you talk about the apex of that season, turning that corner, JB and KB, Week 9 looked to me about as unpredictable as almost Week 1, just because of the competitiveness of the games, I guess I'm trying to say. Because that Cincinnati-Denver game, the Bengals gave those guys... all they could handle there for a minute. Same with the Browns against Baltimore. There was another one of the ones that I was hoping was going to come through to move the game timers up.
I was wondering what your Ohio love
You know
was.
what that is, because it's a swing state. And then
okay.
I know the theme. Like I say, he was very good with that. But I'm just curious, how did your other picks do?
Well,
Beat Tony Romo's prognostication? Because he prognosticated your prognostications.
no,
Just to see if it meant that.
I don't know about that, but what I do know is that Big P didn't clue me in that the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts was going to set a rookie record at 433 passing yards.
Come on.
That was the one I should have went with my first instinct on, though, too. Because I thought I really did think that Indianapolis was going to be able to do that at home, knowing that Miami's not necessarily the best road team. But, hey, Miami, if they wanted to show the rest of the league that they're a team to reckon with and a team that could challenge for a playoff spot, they needed that win.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Man,
right.
They're not a team to be reckoned with.
Y'all know who I picked. And if it wasn't for the dang Pittsburgh Steelers, I'll be embarking on perfection tonight.
No, that is very impressive, no question about that. And what did I tell you about that Carolina-Washington game, that I don't like picking against a team that's lost 5 in a row because I figured, they're going to pop out and win one. But I was keeping with the election thing, man. Like I said, I wanted to pick the team from Washington, D.C. on that game. Now, the one game, all these other games that I just mentioned, man, were close, kind of in that Week 1, those early week coming around the corner comparison, except for that, man, I don't know what happened to the Raiders. I mean, good thing they didn't reestablish the throat slashing thing, man, because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would have been throat slashing in the Raiders' face all day long. That was a game that just kind of got away from those guys.
My favorite Martin, Dougie Fresh. And Doug Martin, he had to go put it down, back at in his hometown.
Right.
I think that you can make the comparison, even though he hasn't had a full season in the league. I've heard certain people actually say that they would take him over Adrian Peterson. Now, I don't know. I'm not going there.
Yeah, it's no need to
Adrian
go there.
Peterson showed yesterday he's the best back in football. And
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch might be second or third, close to there. He's up there, too, as
I've
well.
always said Marshawn Lynch is the most underrated back.
Oh, yeah, he is definitely the most underrated back. But you saw here at CenturyLink Field yesterday, 2 of probably the top 3 backs
Right.
football right now. And I throw Doug Martin into that mix, but, there's
they wore the same uniform. But to be honest with you, he reminds me of Marshall Faulk just because of not only his vision and how he can run, how elusive he is, and his stature, but also his ability to, of course, line up or, of course, receive out of the backfield. He's a dual threat. But getting lost in this league nowadays. As we're talking on 1620 AM KYIZ, Renton, Seattle, 1560 AM KZIZ, Pacific Tacoma, and catch all your Z's live streaming on the World Wide Web at www.ztwins.com and through various apps on your smartphones and tablets, including the TuneIn Radio app. Download it and take us with you wherever you go. It's shaping up to be a very exciting second half of the year, though, Commando.
Yeah, no question about that. And now that we're looking at where the Seahawks, really are in terms of the offense, the defense has been there all season long. Of course, JB, we talked about not too long ago that there's only really been 2 lapses in this defense. It was against the Cardinals, of course, and then against the Lions when you can't get out the field, man. 80 yards, 5:27 left on the clock. I mean, that was just maddening. But besides those 2 lapses, the defense been all good, and really we needed to see a game like we saw yesterday from that offense. Not just really to back up and squelch a lot of the stuff that Big Coach was saying that he's constantly hearing, but really just as Seahawks fans to go, look, the saying is defense wins championships and all of that's good, but look, at some point you guys have got to start scoring, and yesterday was a perfect example of what happens when you hang with the guy that you're going with, and why, I joke all the time that everything this kind, you can't be playing fantasy football with real football. You just can't, okay, well, he didn't do this and didn't do that. Okay, now I'm going to start this guy, Matt Flynn, and okay, now maybe Matt Flynn didn't have a good time. Forget all of that. You pick a guy, you have to go with that guy at quarterback, and now we're starting to see what this guy is really going to be able to do in terms of learning the game and coming up to, not just the game slowing down, but him, coming up to speed to that game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And by the way, Commando, it doesn't work in fantasy either. So, football is football, and you got to ride your guy. And that's the main thing, though, that I'm so encouraged about the Seattle Seahawks is that it does validate what you feel about where they can be towards the end of the year.
Right.
Good, well-coached teams play their best ball as the season progresses. You get stronger as the season goes along. They played their strongest, actually, whatever you say about the 7 and 9 seasons the last 2 years, still were playing their best ball towards the end of the season, November and December, and I'm very excited about that. And not only that, the fact that they have vengeance on the mind of 3 teams that are in the division, in which they really need to, of course, get those games if they're going to cross that point. If the playoffs did start today, the Seahawks would definitely be in it, but you don't want to be just that wild card team getting in, even though you just want to make the show. You want to make sure you show up enough to where you can compete to have a chance to actually host one of those playoff games.
I thought that yesterday offensively, this team had what I like to see out of that balance. I mean, we know that a run-first football team, but you have to be able to throw the ball. Look, I take a quote from Peyton Manning. You throw to score, you run to win.
Yeah.
And this team hadn't necessarily figured out how to score yet until the last couple of weeks. They weren't necessarily throwing the ball to score. They were throwing the ball to try to get a third down conversion. And so, yeah, you're a run-first team. We understand that, and they established that yesterday against that Viking defense. But at the same time, on first down, on second down, usually what we see as running downs, you're able to throw a play-action fake in there or something like that. You're able to put Russell back in a shotgun and let him pick apart the defense. That was a great game plan, and I thought that may have been the best offensive game plan that we've seen all year long. And one of the things that I'm encouraged about is the fact that each week you're seeing this offense get a little bit better. That's kind of what you want to do throughout the football season. Now, your defense, you can have them improve, and maybe they'll play a good game. Maybe they'll play against a good offense and have maybe a bad game, give up a bunch of yards and things of that nature. But one of the things, if you can consistently see your offense getting better and adding more things to the repertoire every single week, and they're being successful with it, that's encouraging going into late in the season.
Quickly, Commando, before I throw it back to you,
Yeah.
one thing that I was very happy to see as far as from the offensive play call, at least the check down standpoint, and Russell Wilson really seeing the game slow down to him, is that he's recognizing where these blitzes are coming from, and he's making them pay, making sure that they're getting these guys. Look, when you have players like Golden Tate who work best in space, rather than, jump. He's the king of jump balls. At this point in time, you hit him with bubble screens. You
Right.
look at Minnesota has been known for, of course, Leslie Frazier loves to blitz his DBs. They were ready for that. And that, of course, extended drives and made things a lot easier for Russell Wilson as far as completing things in the red zone, which we hadn't seen most of this year. Even in Detroit, those are long scoring plays, if you will. They were basically three-pointers, if I can use an analogy, rather than getting down there in the paint and grinding it away, which is the red zone.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on all of that, JB. And when you talk about the game plan that KB just mentioned, the best one that he's seen so far this year, I think Russell Wilson would agree with you, KB. That's the best one that he's seen this year, and starting to feel completely comfortable in kind of what you were just talking about, JB. I mentioned earlier this year as far as rolling out, the game plan or the big picture for this guy. Because bottom line, you bring in a free agent. Matt Flynn could have, should have, would have started, and he got beat out by a rookie. That a rookie is a rookie, and you just can't put the same thing on him as you're going to put on probably a guy like Matt Flynn. But at this point, the way that I just shut it all up with anyone hit me with the Matt Flynn thing is that at this point, Russell Wilson has more NFL experience than Matt Flynn, and that's just be the and they're winning. So that's just, to me, that's just really the end of it. So just to wrap it up, you guys, you said the one game that you missed on, JB, was that Pittsburgh New York Giants game, and I mentioned to you yesterday, man, that the Giants, they're setting that pace there in their division, whereas the Steelers were just trying to keep pace. And man, that was really evident yesterday, the way those guys hung in there, and under the circumstances of New Jersey and the stadium and the travel and everything. It just really speaks a lot to that coaching staff to be able to keep those guys' heads into the game under non-traveling situation as they had, and come out there and get that win. So too bad you missed on that one. But let's just hope that the Philadelphia Eagles beat the New Orleans Saints tonight.
That's what I'm loving. Loving that. I know KB doesn't want to hear that, but you know what? I think it helps us all out because we're all becoming closer to, I guess, who is the overall leader in the clubhouse. But you're right. That's the only one we missed as far as true unanimous picks. And hey, you can't win them all. That's the main thing. And as far as Pittsburgh is concerned, that's a scary team down the stretch there too.
I think so.
On their stride, they showed a lot of character and resilience in that win yesterday.
Yeah, they actually ran the ball. Wow, what? The Steelers ran the ball well?
They're running it a lot more and a lot better. They've been doing it with three backs. Whoever's healthy, basically.
Yep.
And Isaac Redman's term was up. They've been doing it with Jonathan Dwyer the last couple of weeks, and then he gets hurt. Next man up, and Mike Tomlin is really making it, let that be a theme, knowing in that locker room, and you're starting to see that. And Ben Roethlisberger, if he keeps playing like this, we can say what we want about him. He's really starting to put together a Hall of Fame career.
If you say so. I know we're up against the clock. You're not going to suck me into a Hall of Famer conversation, not at this late of the call.
No doubt. My man, Commando, have a great night, of course. Enjoy the game. We'll definitely catch you on the other side. Great pick.
Man, good being on with you guys as always. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
No doubt. That's Commando Dave checking in and out here on Game Time Sports Talk. No doubt. Weekday afternoons from 1 till 3 right here on the Z. 1620 KYIZ 206-325-1420. Your hotline number in Seattle, Martin Luther King Jr. County, as well as in that